Good evening. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Remember not long ago we could look at the bench and we had goals there. Oh, how we've fallen. Hopefully Osman's injury isn't a season ender. Fucking gutted for him. Yeah. I think that what annoyed me during the end of the game there is the reaction, or should you say lack of reaction, from the Celtic players. You could see young Osmond down on the pitch and in bits. Physically, I mean, it was the old shoulder judder he was crying, he was just in pieces. And not one Celtic player went over to say to the young lad, you'll be alright. When you look at the injuries that Kieran Tierney's had over his years, when you look at the players that Kieran Tierney had come over to him and make sure he's okay, not one of those Celtic players tonight went over. And I think that was more disappointing. That was more disappointing than the scoreline. It was deeply disappointing. I'm not expecting a lot of people to be on this live because there is obviously European football just kicked off, but I will try and stay on for half an hour. But the board have dragged this club into the mess. Yes, they have. There was a chance to sack the board at the end of the game tonight. Rightly so. Celtic finished the game 3-1. And we were never at the races. Never. Not from the first minute. We were never at the races. I think that the excitement they've got from young Osman coming on and scoring, I think that young Osman should have took the penalty. I've no idea who allowed Rio Hatate to decide he was taking the penalty. But forget about Europe, we're nowhere near it. I mean, I don't even think that there's any positivity to take out the game tonight. There's no player. It's not time to blame the players because the players have been the same players that we've had all season. What did show tonight? I'm just trying to find out. I want to find out. Let me just see. Right, the valuation of the Midtjylland squad. The whole squad is valued at 78.25 million. The average age of the team is 24-year-old. They've got 28 players in the squad. Their goalkeeper was worth 1.8 million. Let's go to the transfer market because I just want to. Goalkeeper 1.5 million. Right, this is the price that they paid for the players. This is Celtic's. What is going wrong at Celtic? Right, here come their players. Goalkeeper 1.5 million. Number 30, 150 grand, 7.5 million for their centre back. We paid 6 million for Trusty. Their other centre back was 5 million. There was another centre back at the club, 4 million. Han Bom Lee, 1 million centre back, £1 million. 1.5 million, 700 grand. 3.5 million euros, 900 million euros, 2.5 million, 10 million euros for their midfield player. 3.5 million, thank you. 1.7 million, 200, 3 million, 3 million, 8 million for the right winger. 1.5 million, 1 million, 13 million for their centre forward. 3.5 million for Ji Sung Cho. 900 grand, and then 500 grand. That's Celtic's valuation for players. That's in and around what Celtic can buy players for. Why can we not bring in players of a similar physicality, as I've just been given some lemon? Why can't we bring in players at those valuations that meet the expectations of Celtic Football Club? There's something far wrong at the club. And it's not just they could have played without a keeper. Yeah, they could have. They're at the top of Europe for a reason. They're a good team. Yeah, but Willie, I've just went through the valuation of their squad. The valuation of their squad isn't out with the grasps of where Celtic should be. Do you know, and the type of players that they have. Do you know, it's unbelievable that they were so much better. I mean, they brought in a Brazilian centre forward for 900 grand. Do you know, the highest player they've got is a centre forward, 13 million. They're not paying crazy prices. Do you know, and there's very few Dutch in their team. Do you know, it's unbelievable to see the difference in the standard of the quality tonight. Celtic must spend more than them. And I think that was the most upsetting part of tonight, is the togetherness for them. Their manager's a good manager. Their manager's a cracking manager. I mean, let's just run through this. I'll put me over here at the road. I'm down there. I mean, there's their players. Right? This is their squad on transfer market. Valuation of their squad. It's not far. 4 million, 1 million, 1 million, 700 grand, 3.5, 10 million. Do you know, you buy a couple of expensive players and then you buy in players that are of a decent quality, and this is where Celtic are going wrong. Physicality. Martin O'Neill said his team were full of men, grown men. He meant in stature. When Martin O'Neill said that his team back in the early 2000s were a team of men, he meant in grown stature and physicality. This is a weak Celtic team. Physically, mentally, this team is broken. Martin O'Neill's come in and put a sticking plaster over. He's put a sticking plaster over what was there. And the sticking plaster came off tonight. I'd be happy to see Nygren in a Celtic shirt again. He should have been taken off at half time. I said that. I said he's the one player that he should be taken off. I was surprised that James Forrest was taken off and Johnny Kenny at half time, because Benji never touched the ball. I'd like to see how many touches the ball he actually had in that first half, because it was absolutely terrible. Rodgeball fucked us. Yeah. Baz and the players are trying to see money does not get you victory, just as hard tonight. Not enough shots on goal. I think the questions to be asked about the players, the training guys, how 3 of our players have the same injury. 3 our players, how many players got hamstring injuries under Ange Postecoglou's first season? If they're not used to playing, if they're not used to running, at the end of the day. If they're not used to putting in the sprints, I go back to a story that I've told many times. I was at Celtic Park with my dad meeting Roy Aitken back in the day, and we went for lunch with Roy Aitken and Murdo McLeod and a few others. And whilst Roy Aitken, me and my dad are in the centre circle at Parkhead, you had Paul McStay doing sprints up and down the side of the pitch after training himself. Doing the type, when you see the training that Celtic do you know, maybe fast sprinting isn't enough of it, because that's why you're getting so many hamstring injuries. Ange had the exact same issue. We should be beating teams from Denmark, but not under this board. I would agree with that, and especially when you see exactly what they're spending on players, because what they're spending on players isn't far off what we're spending. In fact, I would say that we've probably spent more on players when you look at, well, maybe not tonight when you see our squad, but it's not without the realms of possibility that Celtic can go out and buy £5 million players. We're not asking for a team of £10 million players. We're not asking for a team of players that, you know, cost crazy money. This team tonight from Denmark don't cost a lot of money. You notice that they're all on long-term contracts. 2029, there's one player, 2026, 2028, 29, 30, 29. I mean, these are all players that have all been brought in recently. 2030, 2026, the left back, 2029, 2030. We've got a big issue at Celtic, and it goes way further than just the manager. And we've known this for some time. It goes way further than just the boards. It goes way further than the owner. Do you know, there's a lot that needs to change. And it was interesting to see Mark Fotheringham going absolutely doolally at Martin O'Neill after the game. And I hope that Fozzie is someone that's kept at Celtic, because I think he's someone that could give people a kick up the back arse. Yeah, they're lightweights, Paul. But who's scouting these lightweights? Arne Engels, 11 million. I mean, look at that. I mean, go back to that. I mean, if Arne Engels is 11 million, and then look at their team, and you're thinking, seriously? Is that all these boys cost? None of them, not one, linked to Celtic. Not one linked to Celtic. Portuguese player, 2.5 million. Defensive midfield player. We've got Paulo Bernardo that looks as if he doesn't know what to do to come on, because he's now at a situation at Celtic where he's not getting game time. He's not getting nearly enough of game time. That light's shining right in my eyes, isn't it? He's not getting nearly enough of game time at Celtic, and you know, who would you keep out the lineup and the bench? It's not about who do you leave out. We need a complete restart at Celtic. We've got an opportunity now at Celtic. We're at a position where we need a restart for the top down. And this isn't just, I mean, we were all riding the wave of Martin O'Neill, and you always get a kickback. But Martin O'Neill put the warnings out there. Martin O'Neill put the warnings out that, look, this team are no silly team. You know, I watched him a couple of weeks ago. He tried to get the levels of expectation. Martin O'Neill tried to manage the level of expectation from the fans, as he would, because he's a good manager. Martin O'Neill said before the game tonight, this game's came too early for me for to have any impact with these players. You can't come in the door and, when you see someone like Martin O'Neill having an impact in the league the way that he did, you're never going to be able to do that. You're never going to be able to do that on a European stage. Never. We are sorry for the way we played, said Dyson. Yeah, I bet you are. When are they back from Denmark? They'll be flying home tonight. Celtic will fly back home tonight. And they'll fly out in about 2 hours' time. They generally head to the airport about an hour after the game. They head straight to the airport after the European games. A game like this, especially the early kickoff. So they'll be back in Glasgow around about 2 in the morning or something. They'll get to their bed about 3. Then they'll get the day off tomorrow, and then back in training on Saturday. I've not listened to what Martin O'Neill said after the game. I'll go on to Celtic TV and see what he said. I think that one of the biggest devastating blows for us tonight is Osman's hamstring injury. We're now down to one striker in Europe, not good enough for any Europa team. No, we've not. We've got Kelechi Iheanacho. We've got Iheanacho. He's still in the team for Europe. So headlights and rabbits tonight. Maybe I think it was more than that. Martin O'Neill's first spell as manager, the league was stronger, not anymore. Yeah, the league's poor. And with a poor league, and when you've got a board that are just... When you've got a board that are just happy to maintain winning the league, they're a team full of gold nuggets. The writing was on the wall with Bora FC. We are shite in Europe, have been for years. Where does this optimism come from when we play away? Be more realistic. I think the optimism comes from some of the results that we had won last night, last season, should I say, in Europe, in the Europa. Rangers are getting beat 1-0 already. Tel Aviv are drawn 0-0. Stuttgart are 0-0. Feyenoord 0-0. Celtic are now down to 29th position in the Europa. Down to 29th position. It's not the ending that we wanted to have tonight, was it? We thought that we could maybe even get a draw. I did say that a draw would be a fantastic result tonight. They aren't spending big bucks, but they box smart. The scouting system is clearly far superior to ours. Yeah, it is, Lauren. It's not just that. Their manager's a good manager. He's everything that Celtic want as a manager. But Celtic won't have the balls to go out and try and get a manager like him. Maybe Kudson. Maybe he is the guy. But I don't know. If Johnny Kenny gets injured, that'll be us screwed. With Kelechi Iheanacho as our only... It's an elite coach would have us doing 2 training sessions a day. We need to up our game, our ideas. Coaches from progressive leagues change our old-fashioned ideas. I don't think it's just... I think that Martin O'Neill, when you seen the end of the game and you seen Fozzie fucking getting it loudy to Martin O'Neill, I mean, he was pissed off with some players. Fucking majorly pissed off. Majorly pissed off. And he knows And he'll be saying to Martin O'Neill, these fuckers shouldn't be anywhere near a Celtic strip. Who is buying these fucking plonkers? And he'll know that Martin O'Neill will hopefully go back to Dermot, and say to the power brokers, if Martin O'Neill has been brought in and is asked to do an appraisal of the squad, say that he's asked to do an appraisal of the squad before the new manager comes in, to what is realistically needed to take the club forward. I think Martin O'Neill's report card's going to say, fuck me. Just get rid of whoever's upstairs and whoever's bringing in these players. Sean Maloney should have come on. McManus for Ralston. Well, if only, yeah. If only. Kenny, Forrest, Young, Callum, Mido. I think that when we look back at the performance tonight, it puts everything into perspective. You can have the feel-good factor and we can laugh all we want at beating Rangers in the Cup, but it does really show how bad the Scottish Football League is, more than anything. And yeah, putting things into perspective, you know what? It's the league that we're in. But you're not telling me that the Dutch league is a really mad competitive league. You're not telling me that they're not even in first position in the league. There's one thing, they've got a league of 12. They've got a league of 12 as well. So you can take the comparison, right, to Celtic. Because this is the level that we're at. And this lot shows how to play football tonight, that's sure. There's their league. They're sitting second in the league. Brøndby's third. Copenhagen is fourth. Now they're on 29 points, 14 played. And you look at the bottom of the table. I bet they don't have a fucking stupid split in the middle of their league. I think the split does no good for Scottish football. We have to be looking at leagues like this as a comparison to where we are as a club and as a nation, because Copenhagen, Brøndby, Midtjylland generally year to year do far better than Scottish football. And Rangers fans will say, look, we got to a Europa final a couple of seasons ago, but fucking doesn't mean fuck all, does it? When you look at their league and you look at the population and everything of the country, we really need to get our act together. And Celtic can only look after themselves. And putting things into perspective, yeah, maybe. I was expecting a better performance. I was expecting a way better performance. Way better. Liam Scales getting booked early on. Did that whole Scales back. The goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel. I don't know what he's doing sometimes. Kasper Schmeichel and Liam Scales as well. Liam Scales kicking the ball forward. Kick it to players' feet. Good teams pass to players' feet. Good players do not pass in a hope that a player gets the ball. A hope. And that's the way that we are playing just now. We're kicking the ball into a position hoping a Celtic player gets the ball. rather than kicking it directly to the player and then allowing the player to move forward. It's just bonkers. Already said 11 million for Engels, who's only good at taking a corner. There's well better boys on the bench than him. But it's not, is it? It's not. There isn't. Is there? The board are also constrained with league standard. Do you think that Midtjylland say that we're constrained by the league standard? You think that they really say, oh fuck, we're playing fucking BK, they're shite? Do you really think that teams in Denmark, my missus got friends in Denmark and we should ask her, do you really think that teams in Denmark complain about the standard of opposition that they play in and say, oh, it's the league? They're top of the Europa. Let's put this into perspective here. They've got a team, they've got a league, the top league of 12. They've got a smaller stadium than Celtic. They were only founded in 1999, for goodness sake. They were founded in 1999. But they can go out and buy players and take them up to Denmark, where it's bloody winter for half the year, where it gets dark for half the year. But they can convince players, and you've had Neil Lennon, you've had other players saying some players don't want to come to Scotland. How the fuck can they get them to go to Denmark then? Seriously. Let's put that into perspective. How can teams get players of the quality that they've got to go all the way up to cold, dark Denmark? No disrespect to Denmark, but come on. They do have proper winters. But they can convince players to go there. I think some of the excuses that come out of Celtic sometimes is unbelievable. And, you know, it's not a night for giving it to PSG were bought by billionaires. What the fuck is PSG doing in? Denmark's south of Scotland? No, it's not. You crazy? Jesus God. Oh man. Ay ay ay. Sevco were founded in 2012. Yeah, this is true. That is true. Danish winter is no worse than Scotland either. It must be, because I know people that have went on skiing stuff in Denmark. That's all I'm saying. Their town has a population of 60k. We just made the wrong player selection. It's time to start a new keeper. Yeah. It is that. But anyway. Right, I'm done and dusted for the night. I've had enough. It's I knew it would be a slow reaction video afterwards. I still can't believe that what we've seen tonight. I still can't believe, for me, that none of the players went up to Callum Osmond and consoled the young 19-year-old player. Consoled the young 19-year-old player for the fact that he's going to be out injured for months. It says more about these players than anything. Anyone, have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. I'm done.